everyone. Welcome to our Bedtime Story podcast. I'm Daniel and my little brother Brian is here with me too. Tonight we're gonna have a really cool story to tell you. It's all about a man who went all the way to the moon. His name is Neil Armstrong. We added some fun facts, true story, jokes, and even a little conversation. So get comfy, close your eyes, and let's go on an adventure to the stars together. The amazing journey of Neil Armstrong. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Neil Armstrong. Neil was born on August the 5th, 1930s in a small town called Wacokonita, Ohio, in the United States. From a very young age, Neil loved the sky. He would spend hours lying on the grass, watching the clouds drift by and dreaming about flying high. One day, Neil was just 6 years old. He got to ride an airplane for his first time. Can you imagine flying at that age? From that moment on, he knew he wanted to fly. Neil loved flying so much that he started building model airplanes and learning everything he could about them. By the time he turned 16, he earned his pilot license, even before he learned how to drive a car. How cool is that? Brian, did you know why Neil wants to become a pilot?
Because he likes flying.
Close, because he needs some space. As Neil grew older, his love of flying only got stronger. He went to college to study engineering because he wanted to learn how airplanes worked. After college, he joined the U.S. Navy and flew all kinds of airplanes, even during dangerous missions. He was brave and calm no matter what happened in the sky. Later, Neil became a test pilot. This is one of the coolest jobs ever. He flew brand new super fast planes to see how well they worked. During one of these test flights in a plane called X-15, Neil flew so high, so fast, over 4,000 miles per hour, he could almost see the curve of the earth. But one day, he nearly lost control of the plane. Luckily, he stayed calm and brought back it safely. That's how skilled he was. You know, it's like Neil was the kind of guy who would bring a pencil to the moon.
Why a pencil?
Because pens do not work in zero gravity. But Neil had an even bigger dream. He wanted to fly into space. In 1962, he was chosen to become an astronaut. An astronaut is someone who travels into space in a rocket. Neil joined a group of brave explorers who trained for years learning how to control spacecrafts, float in zero gravity, and even survive if they land in the ocean. Speaking of floating in space, did you know what astronauts put on their sandwiches?
Peanut butter?
Nope. Launch meat. In 1969, Neil Armstrong was picked for a very special mission. He would be the first human to walk on the moon, along with two other astronauts, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins. Neil climbed into a giant rocket called the Apollo 11. The rocket was enormous, taller than a 30-story building. On July 16, 1969, it blasted off from Earth with a roar, shoot the ground. The astronauts held tight as they zoomed into space. Inside the rocket, Neil and his team floated around in zero gravity. It was like being on a giant roller coaster. After 4 days of flying through space, they finally reached the moon. But Neil's adventure was just beginning. He and Buzz climbed into a small spaceship called the Eagle to take them down to the moon's surface. Michael stayed behind in the main spaceship, making sure everything went as planned. As they were landing, Neil noticed that the computer was guiding them towards a field of big, dangerous rocks. Thinking quickly, he took the manual control of the Eagle and guided to a safer spot. He managed to land with only 30 seconds of fuel left. Talk about staying calm under pressure. I bet his heart was racing faster than the spaceship. Carefully, Neil climbed down the ladder. His boots touched the dusty ground. He looked around at the strange rocky surface. It was like nothing he had ever seen. Then he took his first step on the moon and said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." The whole world watched it on TV as he became the first human to walk on the moon. Hey Brian, guess why the moon was so happy to see Neil?
Why?
Because it finally had some company. Neil and Buzz spent 2.5 hours walking on the moon, collecting rocks, jumping around in the low gravity, and even putting up an American flag. They left behind a plaque that reads, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind." They also placed medals to honor astronauts and cosmonauts who had helped make space exploration possible. It was a short visit, but they did so many incredible things that amazed everyone on Earth. After their work was done, Neil, Buzz, and Michael flew back to Earth. The journey home was just as exciting. They splashed down safely in the ocean, where a big ship picked them up. When they returned, people cheered and celebrated their brave journey. Neil Armstrong had become the first person to walk on the moon, showing us all that big dreams can take us to the stars. And speaking of stars, Brian, what kinds of songs do astronauts like?
Rock.
That's right! Rocket and roll. So, the story of Neil Armstrong reminds us that even a boy from a small town can do something incredible. If he dreams big and works hard, Neil's journey shows us that with bravery, calm thinking, and a lot of hard work, we can reach for the stars, maybe even the moon. Now close your eyes, dream of the stars, And who knows, maybe one day you will have your own great adventure in space.
And don't forget, this show, it's made by me, Brian, and my older brother, Daniel.
That's right. Thanks for listening to our bedtime story podcast. Good night, space travelers. If you like my channel, please subscribe so you don't miss any phenomenal, famous people in history.